Welcome back to the print room, guys. I am Gerald, and today we're going to go over how to figure out your print settings a little bit easier and faster if you're using the GTX. So we got the GTX Pro Bulks, as you know, and what we're going to do here is called a highlight mask pattern check. So what this allows you to do, it's basically going to print different levels of ink on the shirt, right? So if you have the GTX and you have the RIP software, okay, I'm gonna bring that up real quick, right? You may use CADLink. CADLink's gonna be different, but if you got the graphics lab and you go to say print your graphic, you have on here white ink settings. You got everything from 1 to 9, and then your mask is everything from 1 to 5, okay? Your highlight is basically going to be the white on the shirt that you see, right? So if you have white text and there's no color on top of it, that is your highlight. Your mask is going to be your underbase under everything, including your dark and light colors. So when you're printing red, blue, maroon, that is your mask. It will adjust it depending on what color is being printed. So for an example, if you are printing a bright yellow versus a navy color, now I'm not talking about the shirt, I'm talking about the ink color. If you're printing a yellow ink color versus a navy ink color, it's gonna print less white under the navy because you don't want the navy to become bright. So it'll print less white. So that's what the mask does. It helps adjust that setting. And just a quick side note, because I brought up like navy, if, okay, you want to increase the white under a dark color, maybe the shirt is really absorbing the ink in and you just want to add a little bit more white, but only under dark ink colors like navy, maroon, brown, black, you would go to this setting here that's minimum whiteness, okay? And you can change this from 1 to 2. You can even put it on special and go all the way up to 6, okay? That's gonna increase the white just under your dark colors, okay? So this is basically, so we got the 1 to 9 for the highlight, right? And if we go here, this is what your highlight pattern check will look like. You can see it says H1 at the top and it goes to H9. So that's each one of the highlight values. So we have one printing right here. We're almost done. And it starts, you got the first line, it prints it plus some colors, and then it goes to the second highlight. Then it goes to the third, to the fourth, and so forth. So here's an example done on a black shirt. Okay, I used about 20 grams of pretreatment of Firebird Nova, FBX Nova pretreatment, and printed this pattern check out. Now, I could add more pretreatment. I could add less pretreatment, right? That's something that this test will help you do. So at 20 grams, I feel like I got a good print on a good amount of the numbers. I don't have any staining or such like that. The shirt feels good. It's not overly pre-treated. And if I look here and I take our tool, which we've used in other videos, our Spectro tool, and I measure, you know, let's say I measure the highlight on the 5. I'm gonna scan that. Right, I got a 93. I got a 93 L value, which is an extremely good L value. That is basically the same as if a screen printer did a double hit, you know, with the white ink, with a flash in between. So right now I could say on this black Gildan shirt at 20 grams of the FBX Nova, I could do a highlight of a 5. So I go back here, I could do a highlight of a 5 and a mask of, now these have a mask of a 1. So that's the only thing that I gotta clarify. It does a mask of a 1, okay? And a lot of times on black shirts and darker shirts, you may do a 2 or a 3. I use Firebird inks. I don't ever go past a 3 mask. That's me. The way that ink sits on there, you get a higher L value with the Firebird ink. So with my testing that I've done, I don't ever go past the 3. A lot of times I'm a 1 or 2 for my mask. 3s are usually for hoodies, okay? But this test is doing a highlight 1. So If you wanted to do a little bit higher mask, okay, it's gonna slightly change your ink value. You might go to a 4. You might go to a 4 and you do a 4, 2 or a 4-3, or you can do a 5-1, 5-2. But this right here will just help you determine, let me get the shirt back up, help you get not always determine, but help you get a good starting point of where to start. So I really like the H5. My colors are really solid. Okay, the H6 is even a little bit more better, but I might have a little bit of bleeding, possibly if it's, a very fast image or a small image. The H4 white looks really good, but I do feel like the color could be a little bit more solid. And then that's where I'm talking about changing the mask, because this has a mask of 1. So if you did an H4 with a mask of 2, that might bring it in more solid. But me personally, if the H4 is say like, oh, that's just good enough, I'm gonna go to the next value. Because if you are a printer and you could get shirts in, your pre-treat sprayer, no matter which one you have, is not gonna be super consistent. It may spray a little more, it may spray a little less. So by going up one value from the one that's borderline, this will help you get a good print every time, just in case the pre-treat sprayed a little bit less on a shirt, or you got some shirts in that are just absorbing the pre-treat a little bit more. So that's what that. So, hey, I did this black Gildan shirt. The 20 grams is nice. I mean, I could probably go less than 20 grams and then maybe use like a highlight of a 6. Or if you want to use less ink, you can go more than 20 grams if you're okay with how the shirt looks and having more pre-treatment, and then you would probably get like an H4. So the shirt we did right here was a cobalt blue, right? And here we put on, I did less, I did about 17 grams on this shirt here, right? And I can see that the H5 is borderline and the H6 is definitely a much better print. Now, I did less pre-treat, so it makes sense I may need a little bit more ink. Now, I can't measure the L value because the ink's wet, so I can't put the camera on there. But, so, if you are doing new shirts, right, customers, hey, I want to do this new color, and you're not sure, here's a good test. Let me go back to that screen. Here's a good test that you can do so you don't have to, waste shirts. You don't have to print all these different graphics trying to figure it out. This will give you a really good starting point. And what it will do is also, if I'm doing a black shirt, most likely the Gildan Navy is going to be the same. The Gildan Brown is going to be the same. Now, when you go to maroon, it might change. You might have to increase your mask more because of the dye migration. But you don't have to do every color. You will start seeing similarities, but it is a great way to say, hey, let's figure out what our setting is, right? We have multiple people printing. We have multiple people pre-treating. This will really gear us of how much pre-treatment we want to use and how much ink we want to use. Do we want to go more pre-treatment, less ink, less pre-treatment, more ink, right? There is that perfect combination of this amount of pre-treat with this ink will give you your best wash results and your best print results. And that's up to you to determine what is satisfactory for your print shop. With us here, we strive to try to go a little bit higher. So like I said, whatever we think is borderline, we increase it one value, and we want to have a really soft feel with our shirts. So we never over pre-treat. And then, this is both with Nova. And then we also we do the same thing with all of our pre-treat, which basically we use Nova right now and we use Ghost. Normally I would use Ghost on this. I just didn't have it in the pre-treater to do that test. But yeah, this is you get it right from Brothers website, or you can just contact me and I can send you over the file if you have the GTX. And it's just a great test to do. So you got some new shirts, you're trying to figure out settings, do the highlight pattern check. It'll make your life easier. All right. Thanks for watching the video, and we'll catch you next time.